Okay, Dr. Aisha, over to you.
Good morning, Dr. Tony. Thank you so much
You may
for
have to
this.
talk louder. You're sounding a bit far. I don't know. So your volume, you may
Okay.
need to check it. It's a lot clearer now. Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay now, right? Because my
Yes,
volume is at the highest right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Better.
thank you so much, Dr. Tony. It's always a pleasure. And it was a pleasure to listen to Coach Amina. Coach Amina, how are you doing today? How is the family?
Doing fine, thank you, sis. It's so nice to be working with you here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sis.
Thank you. So good morning, DG. Good morning, President. Good morning, all members of Chartered Institute of Mentoring and Coaching Nigeria. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I am Dr. Aishat Adaviruku. And a bit about me.
A minute, ma'am. Can you make your slide full screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Fantastic.
Thank you for reminding me.
Right, that's my job here anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
right.
I am Dr. Aisha Tadaviruku. I'm the founder of an institute where we do trainings and the slides are taking a bit to load. But
okay, so what you do is
I want to
what you do is
back. Okay, so
yes, you have to
today we'll be speaking about introduction to.
You have to keep pressing your tab so that it can upload fast. It's the transition, the way the transition is designed. Are you still with us, ma'am? Dr. Haishat? Okay.
I can hear you now.
Yes. So I said you need to be clicking on it quickly so that it can then load up fast. It's the transition, the way the template has been designed.
Okay. Yes. So I'm starting at 9:45. So yes. the title of this is Introduction to Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And this is me. I'm a multi-award winning coach. I have received the recipient of Peace and Icon of Mentorship Award. I have a professional doctorate degree in peace and conflict resolution, and I am committed to being light bearer for other light workers. Okay, so the question is, what's not the mind? When you get this question, what comes to your mind? Quickly write what comes to your mind in the chat box when you have a question like this. What's not your mind? What's not the mind? When you look at this question, what do you think? What comes to your mind when you see a question like this? What's not the mind? Okay. Okay, I can see comments like the mind is not empty, it is how we see the world, our perception. Wow, I love this. That means I'm talking to an informed audience and would gain more traction with this. So the thing is, we do not see the world as it is, we see the world as we are, right? And what exactly does this mean? One of my favorite authors said something. He said, we are dangerous when we're not conscious of our responsibility for how we behave, think, and feel. And he's one of the best negotiators the world ever knew. We also have one of my mentors. I've attended a couple of his trainings. He says, the way we communicate with others and with ourselves ultimately determines the quality of our lives. And in my human development work, I've discovered that this is true. The way we communicate with others, but most especially the way we communicate with ourselves, because you listen to yourself more than any other voice out there. That voice that is always streaming in your head about what the world is about, who you are in the world, and all of that. They tell you, that voice either, causes you to lose your sense of self, or it empowers you to step into awareness and step into your purpose. I'm sure that that journey has brought most of you here today. So the way we communicate with others and with ourselves ultimately determines the quality of our lives. So where do we get all of our self-talk from? All of who we are, all of our programs, where do they come from? Coach Amina mentioned something when she was speaking about the impact of our childhood, and the impact of adverse childhood experiences is one field that I encourage you to study deeply, because it will tell you a lot about yourself and a lot about your clients. You know why? Because psychological research has proven that from age 0 to about 8 years is when we develop the chunk of our self-concept and of our place in the world, of how we show up in the world. From age 0 to 8 is when what we call the imprint period happens. So imagine that when a child is born, the child's brain is like a mailbox. Now, this particular mailbox, the child has, everybody around him or her dropping letters in this mailbox. Now, these letters, they contain instructions for how the world functions. They contain instruction for the child of what the world is about. That's the first time where the child will get to know about Father Christmas, the child will get to know about the Tooth Fairy, and believe some of these things until they become wiser, right? So, but this set of, instructions, they become beliefs which the child holds on to use to navigate the world. And some of these instructions, they are contradictory. So one auntie will say, do this, the other one will say, do that, the other one will say, this is wrong, the other one will say, this is right. And the child may get confused, but the child will still have to make sense of the world in some way. And the child picks those things the child feels, gives meaning to his or her existence. So it said that we should be careful. We should be careful what we say to our children, because we become their inner voice. Those things you tell your child become the inner voice. Those voices they hear in their head as adults. Those voices, they come from those early programs. So I want to say that today we are going to understand the potential of NLP to enrich our coaching and mentoring practice by understanding deeply the effects of our programs, the effect of the programs that shape us as adults now. It comes from our imprint as children, largely. And they are deposited in our unconscious mind. So we are about 95% of our unconscious mind. Some research will tell you 97%, some research will tell you 98%. So the question is, are you utilizing your unconscious mind, or is your unconscious mind running you? So are you the one running it, or is it running you? Are you allowing it to take control of your life bus, or are you firmly handling the wheel of your life bus? Are you allowing your automatic processes control your life, or are you checking in with your programs to see those programs that are no longer serving you and changing them with all of these change tools that we're going to share with you today? And are you also helping your clients do the same? So I want to encourage you, 1 minute, write 3 goals you have for this very session. What do you want to take away? It could be for the entire session, it could be for this session. Write 3 goals in your manual. What is it you want to take away from this very session? I want to encourage you to stay 100% present so that you can take maximum impact from this particular session and all of your sessions. And then as we go along, this is one of the most effective ways to learn. Note down the action you intend to take post this training. So I loved when one of the ladies asked, can you share like a template, a coaching template with me that I can utilize? That's her taking immediate action on what she has learned. So I want you, as we go on, note down those things that will be useful to you now and in the future. So our learning goals are threefold. Introduce the foundational principles of NLP. NLP is very large. So this is just like a taster of NLP. And then I'm going to also illustrate practical applications tailored for coaching and mentoring. I've outlined 3 tools that I'm going to use to illustrate. And then I encourage you to take active participation and application of this concept in your future professional practice. So a bit about NLP. NLP originated in the 1970s at the University of California. Doctors Richard Bandler and John Grinder began to study how certain therapists got the results that they did. So this set of therapists, they were getting positive results from their clients. And then these 2 gentlemen began to wonder, okay, what are these therapists doing differently? If you remember, Coach Amina mentioned something. She said that as a coach, you should empower your clients. You should not, aim to keep them with you forever. There are some people that they will tell you for the past 5 years they've been in therapy. For the past 10 years they've been in therapy. What are they therapizing? So if this set of therapists, they were able to empower their clients with tools to help themselves. So they were able to train them and empower them to actually help themselves rather than continue to depend on, rather than continue to depend on the therapist all their life. So, and with the therapists, some of those therapists is Milton Erickson, Virginia Satir, Fritz Perls, and Ivan Pavlov. Of course, there are a lot of other influences into neuro-linguistic programming. So what exactly is NLP? NLP says that there is a connection between neurological processes, what happens here when we are thinking, and the language we use to do the thinking, and then how this forms our behavior, our patterns. So these patterns becomes our programs. So let me quickly give you an example. I have been a banker, I have over 10 years banking experience. And then I had a colleague. This particular colleague, his secondary education and university education were in the UAE. He schooled outside the country. So he actually speaks Arabic far better than English. And he's originally Hausa. So when he comes into the office, he's having issues with almost everyone. And, from my journey, my personal development journey, I realized that it was his language, because language plays a significant role in how you pattern your life and your experiences and how you interact with others. So when he speaks, he's actually speaking direct in Hausa. He's speaking English, but it's Hausa he's speaking. So there was a day he came and he told me that I have joined Hajia Tumala Seidu. And in my head, I was like, join. Are you a spiritual father or something? And then, I speak a little Hausa. Then it hits me that he actually meant that he has introduced Hajiatu Malam Seidu. So, and he would have problems with everybody because I think from my own experience, they didn't understand what he was always trying to communicate. So communication is super powerful, but this was his pattern. If he was to take out time to, sit down and reflect, he will understand where the major challenge was coming from, right? But it had become a pattern and there was a disconnect with people he was trying to speak to. So NLP is actually the study of physiology and psychology of excellence because it is based on several theoretical foundations, which include cognitive psychology, linguistic, and behaviorism. NLP provides a wide range of practical tools and techniques, which can be adapted to individuals, which individuals can adapt to various fields in coaching, personal development, and professional development. It also contains tools for effective communication, goal setting, conflict resolution, and emotional intelligence. You can also use NLP tools and techniques. You can apply them in education, coaching, therapy, leadership, business, politics. In short, one of my mentors, Dr. Mark, was with you guys yesterday. He told me that for US presidents to be sworn in, they have to go through NLP training first because it helps you understand not only yourself, become more self-aware, but also to understand other people around you. So there is what we call modeling in NLP. Look at somebody, look at what they're doing, understand how they're doing it and the thoughts behind, the thoughts they are thinking why they are doing that thing. And then you'll be able to replicate it and get almost the same results. Now, if you remember, this first one says NLP is the study of the physiology and psychology of excellence. Physiology is our body. Psychology is what's happening on the inside, right? So there is a story I heard that, a guy wanted to learn how to shoot, this arrow that they shoot on boats. And the way the game is played, you have to, if you lose, you have to start all over again, right? And there are people, when he first registered for that particular, training, he met some people there and he noticed that one guy was consistently winning. So he decided, as an NLP practitioner, he decided to model that guy. And then he went to him and he asked him, how do you win? And the guy was, good enough. He shared his secret with him. He said, whenever I, drag in the arrow, I take in a deep breath. And then as I'm releasing the arrow, I release the breath with the arrow. But that's not the only thing he was doing. There was a second thing he was doing. Because there is a pressure that whenever you lose, you have to go and start all over again. He said anytime he, drags in the arrow, he also thinks to himself that I am starting all over again. So there is no pressure on him to perform. So these were the only two keys that this particular guy taught the new guy. And the new guy used this to actually win, consecutively. He was winning. And it was just by following the physiology. What this guy was doing physiologically was to take in a breath and then release the arrow with the out breath. And then he's not thinking, oh, I mustn't lose. Oh, if I lose, I'm going to start over. He's telling himself in his thoughts that this is the first time, relax, there is no pressure, this is the first time. And these were the only two things this guy needed to actually make him outperform. Some of the people he met there had not even won. But by using this physiology and psychology of excellence, gotten from modeling this particular winner, he was able to win. So that's what we mean when we say NLP is the physiology and psychology of excellence. So NLP can be used in a wide range of, to treat psychological and emotional issues, including anxiety. I've used it successfully with various clients to the glory of God. they have come out of depression, anxiety, they have recovered from phobias. And in business, I have used this tool to help businesses with strategies, with training their leaders on effective communication skills, effective motivation skills, and to enhance their productivity and job satisfaction. You can also use NLP when it comes to training and consulting and teaching. You understand how to motivate and inspire your students and your learners, rather than, demotivating them or making them feel, unable to learn. There are key ways. You understand through NLP, you understand the learning models of individuals. And when you do learning models, especially in a training like this, there is what we call the format system. So using the format system, you ensure that you use the three, it's four. So you ensure that in any presentation, you're using the 4 models so that anybody in that particular presentation that belongs to any of the models will be able to go along with what you're sharing. So in parenting, you can utilize the tools to raise confident and influential children. So I have a teen son. One day, I had taken them through NLP. So one day, his brother, who is also a teen, was speaking to their younger brother, who is a toddler. And, he was like, be careful. Don't you know that you are going to be the inner voice of that child when he grows up? He's going to take significant emotional experiences from what you're saying. So children actually model parents. So one of the key principles, like when we're in secondary school, we had the laws, right? We have the Newton law, the Watt law. So NLP too has a set of laws. They have key principles. They are known as they are known as NLP presupposition. Now, thank you, Fatima. So we said the map is not a territory, is one of the key presuppositions, one of the first ones you learn when you learn NLP. What does this mean? We say whatever the outside world is really like, we use our senses to explore and map it. The world is an infinity of possible sense impressions, and we're able to perceive only a very small part of it. That part we can perceive is further filtered by our unique experiences. So both our neurological filters and our linguistic filters cause us to delete, distort, and generalize reality. What does all of this mean? So there was a lady, I will illustrate with a story. There was a lady, anytime she wanted to put a turkey into the microwave, she would cut off a part of it. And her husband was wondering, why do you do this? Well, when her husband asked her, she said, that was how my own mother used to do it. Now, the husband was really interested in understanding why she was doing that. So he asked the mother, why do you do this? The mother said that was how my own mother used to do it. Luckily for them, the grandma was alive, and the husband, continued his investigative activities. So he went to ask, the grandma, why do you do this? The grandma now told him that during our time, the microwave used to be small. So for the turkey to roast properly, we had to cut off a part of it. Now, 3 generations later, they were doing the exact same thing without understanding the basis for why they were doing it. So what does this mean? Sometimes we delete information from outside. We distort information from outside. How do we delete? We are not paying attention to it. So for instance, let me give you a quick illustration of how we delete things. One of my colleagues, he went to a supermarket, and then a lady was smiling and waving at him, and he was wondering, who is this lady smiling and waving at me? He didn't answer until that one said, Shamshu, can't you see me? And then he realized, oh, that's Godia. And the fact is, Godia was not with a wig. Godia was not with a suit, right? Godia just had her plaited hair, and she was in slippers. He was used to seeing Godia with wigs, looking psychedelic with high heels. And then he seen Godia looking like Mary Amaka. He couldn't connect the pictures. So he had deleted the picture he saw, not knowing that was Godia standing right before him, until he heard her voice. So this is how sometimes we delete reality, because it's not looking like what we know or what we are expecting. So we delete it, right? Then how do we distort reality? We distort reality by coming to it with a preconceived notion. You know, if it's not white, it's not milk. So if we don't know, maybe vanilla milk exists, right? So if it's not this, like sometimes I tell my son something and he said, no, it's not this, because he's 3 years, so he's just learning about the world. So he knows a certain thing a certain way, and I'm introducing a new thing, and he said, no, he's referring to the old one. So this is how we distort reality, because we hold on to our preconceived notions. Then how do we generalize? Generalization is saying all women are, all men are, all Igbos are, all houses. When we come to an experience with this kind of mindset, what happens is that we are cheating ourselves of actually understanding and utilizing the best of that experience, because we have a preconceived notion. We are allowing our unconscious mind to run us instead of us running our unconscious mind. So the reason, one of the core reasons we also do this is that per second, we are faced with about 2 million bits of information. And this can be overwhelming for any average person. So we choose instead what to focus on. Like when I talk about us being overwhelmed with about 2 million bits of information, right now, you're in this class, you may likely be hearing sounds from outside, but you are not paying attention to those sounds until I mention them. You are likely not paying attention to how you're breathing. You know, it's just automatic until I mentioned it. You're not paying attention to how you're sitting on the chair. You're not paying attention to, you know, how your clothes is sitting on your body, because your attention is in the class. So all this other information, they have not gone anywhere. They go right into your unconscious mind and stay there. So, but because we can only pay attention to about 5 to 7 bits of information from psychological research per time, because of all of this information coming at us. The sound of the car outside, the voices of maybe people in your immediate environment, all of that, you have filtered them out to be here, you know, deeply. So now, I am going to take us through the NLP 7 levels deep journey of how communication happens, external and internal. Are you ready? Gear up, because this is going to be very deep. So I'm going to take it one after the other. Pay attention so that you understand exactly how this happens. When we say that the map is not a territory, it means that all you know about the world is not all there is about the world. Like the lady and the turkey example I gave you, she felt that, you know, cutting the turkey to roast it was the only way to roast turkey. But there were more ways to roast turkey, because now the microwave ovens are bigger, right? So this is what we call the 7 levels deep. When life event happens, we take in through our, what we call our VACOG, our filters. We have visual, auditory. Visual is eyes, we see that thing. Auditory is ear. Kinesthetic is sense of touch. Olfactory is scent, and gustatory is our sense of taste. So whatever experience we come to, we take it through our 5 senses. Now, some individuals, their senses, they're more, they take in more information visually. Some individuals take in information more auditorily. Some individuals take in information more when they can do it, when they can feel that thing. So the question is, for this particular information in front of you, for you to take it in, you have to take it in through majorly what we call your rep system, which is your major, you know, one of the filters you use. Once you take this in, right, it passes through your upbringing, your significant emotional experiences, your environment and education. So the first step is your VACOG, your filters. The second step is your upbringing, your significant emotional experiences, your environment and education. Just a moment.
Yeah, I'm sure we are having a great time. I mean, I have heard quite some insights about neurolinguistic programming, and it's really insightful this morning. Dr. Aisha, are you back?
I am back. I had to send my children out from my door. So
I heard them at the background. I was trying to mute, but I discovered you were the only one that had your mic on.
I am so sorry about that. So thank you. What we do for love. So now it comes in through the first level is our BACOG filters, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. The second level is our upbringing, significant emotional experiences, environment, and education. And you know, when we talk environment, we're talking about the people with us, they are part of our environment. Then the physical space is part of the environment. And then the influences, like the book we read, the trainings we take, and all of that, they are also part of our environment that grooms us. Now, when this grooming happens, it gets to the third step, which is all of this helps us form our beliefs, our personality type, our decisions, our attitude towards the world, and they form our memories. And from all of this, we form our values. And you remember the story of language I told you earlier. So language is not only what is said, but how it is said, right? It is very important. Then, when whatever experience outside here passes through our upbringing, and it happens so fast, you don't even know these things are happening, right? So it passes through our upbringing, then it comes to these are our 7 filters here, our personality type, our belief, decision, attitude, memories, values, language, and then we delete, distort, and generalize that information. So whatever information you interact with, it has gone through all of this process before you give it meaning. So write this down. We are meaning-making machines. We do not see the world. Now, this is the essence of, we do not see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. So I can almost hear the pin drop silence in your soul just by understanding this. Once whatever is happening out here passes through all of these things, we give it meaning. Now, giving it meaning is about the fifth step. Once we give whatever is happening meaning, what happens immediately after that is that now it puts us in a certain state of mind, either positive or negative. So that's why you and another person can have the same experience, but your response to that experience is different. One person may decide to react, one person may decide to respond. Now, responding is when somebody is making noise, please help me mute. So responding to this is what we call state management. You are able to manage your state when you respond, because please note this down, every behavior is state dependent. This is because how we're thinking dovetails into how we're feeling, and how we're feeling dovetails into how we are acting. So the sixth step is that whatever meanings we have chosen to give to this outside event here, which is the first step, puts us in a starting state of mind. The state of mind could be negative or positive. Once it puts us in this state of mind, then you see the physiological change. You either see a frown or a smile, and then you see the action, the behavior. But the good news is, this is one of the crux, one of the foundations of state management, which leads to emotional intelligence. If you're able to come to an experience and you're able to, within that 10-second space, be able to change your state, especially if the state is negative, you're able to manage that negative state so that the behavior from that state is either neutral or in alignment with the response, not overboard. You're not reacting to life, you're responding to life. So all of this happens so fast, you don't even know it's happening sometimes, right? And this is who we are. This is how we think. This is how we see the world. This is how our perception is formed. This is how our perspective about things is formed. And remember that it comes from part of your programs. Those things you already know. They come from how you are feeling now, how you are responding now. So it's thoughts, note it down, thoughts, feelings, action. So how can you use this in, how many more minutes do I have, please? 45.
You have just about 5 more minutes because you're supposed to take question and answers. Let me check again. Let me check the
no problem.
the
I'll just know how
again.
to. Thank you. So yes, now we do not see the world. Thank you very much. We do not see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And once we understand this, when clients come to us, Coach Amina also said this, you check their model of the world. You understand who is this person sitting right before me before you even start any work. Because sometimes you may be thinking, oh, this is what this client needs. But remember that coaching is about empowering your clients to act rather than you acting for them or directing them to act. So by understanding their model of the world, you're able to help them. You're able to move them from being at effect to being at cause. So when you design NLP intervention, you design it by loosening, because whatever brought them to you is disempowering them, right? So you design it by loosening their model of the world so that they can begin to understand the world better. So some of the tools that we can use are, we can help our clients reframe their experience. We can help them move from effect to cause. So reframing their experience, for instance, there is an NLP prescription that says that there is no failure, only feedback. Now, I want to use the story of Thomas Edison to illustrate. Thomas Edison, when he was young, he brought a letter home to his mother, and his mother was crying, and he asked his mother, why are you crying? And then his mother said that, they said, you're too intelligent for them in school, so I'm going to homeschool you. She homeschooled him, and he was one of the most prolific inventors of his century. Years later, after his mother died, he was going through her stuff, and that he saw that letter. In that letter, it was written, your son is mad. You can no longer have him at our school. And he wrote in his diary that my mother is that woman who took a mad boy and turned him into one of the most prolific inventors of this century. And he was one of those he was the person that invented the light bulb. So he failed 999 times and only succeeded at the 1000th time. He was not the only one tried, but he was the one that finally succeeded in inventing the light bulb. And then when he was launching it, a reporter asked him, how do you feel having failed 999 times? He said, I didn't fail 999 times. I only learned 999 ways that the light bulb was not going to be possible. So we can begin to help our clients mind their failures and see those failures as stepping stones to success. This is one of the ways to reframe. So it's like you take an old picture and you put a new frame on it. So this is reframing. And clients actually heal with this. I have scores of clients heal with this technique. Then moving the client from effect to cause. Now, some clients, they are in a disempowering state. They feel, oh, the high cost of living right now is happening to me. But there are people looking for opportunities for how to even maximize this, and new businesses are springing up. So it's to ask your client, what can you do rather than thinking, your village people are after you? How can you even help yourself, right? Then we have what we call the neurological levels of change. So just a moment. Now, I want to go deeper into effect and cause. When we say cause, when a client is at cause, the client is proactive, the client is taking responsibility, the client is taking charge of their life rather than outsourcing their life to somebody else. Then when we talk about being at effect, the client is being dormant, being reactive, and being passive. They feel that, they have to wait for the knight in shining armor to come and save them. There is nobody that is coming. You are your own savior. You must get up from that seat that you're sitting and waiting. So why can't you empower yourself and be somebody else's savior? Why wait for somebody to be your own savior? So you can always, at whatever time in life, like the founder of KFC Chicken, he was almost committing suicide when he realized, wait a moment, I have resources that I can utilize. And that was how he started KFC in his 60s. And today, KFC is a brand that has outlived him. So you are never without resources. Remember, there is an NLP principle that says that there are no unresourceful people, only unresourceful states of mind. So once you're able to change your mindset, you're able to understand the resources around you that you need to leverage to get you to that place. And this is what you also help your clients do. You help yourself with this resource first, and then you also help your clients with this mindset. So there's what we call the neurological levels of change. It's the third way you can help your clients. One of the ways to use this tool is when a client comes to you, after doing your assessment, you're going to check in the client's environment, what do they need to change? Do they need to change their home? Do they need to change whatever? What is it that they need to change? Then your own is to recommend. Their own is to act, right? You help them, you empower them to act by doing the first two levels, putting them at course, and also helping them to reframe whatever challenges brought them to your office in the first place, right? Now, after you help them understand what they need to change in their environment and do the recommendations for them, you check, what do they need to change in their behavior? For instance, if somebody is trying to lose weight and anytime they pass by the fridge, they open the fridge and take cake or sweet and pop it into their mouth, that behavior needs to change, right? Then you talk about skills and knowledge. Sometimes you need to empower your clients to maybe take certain courses, right? Or to take a certain, so sometimes clients come to me, and when I find a gap in their understanding, I recommend some courses for them to take. One of the courses I even recommend for them is NLP. Let them even understand, how their mindset works, their awareness first. Then, so they can't do the full, whatever they choose to do, but you can recommend courses for them to help them get them from where they are to where they need to be first. You can maybe recommend an emotional intelligence course for them, recommend NLP, emotional design, or you can actually, design it as part of your intervention for them, depending on, what is available, their funding and all of that. Then their values and beliefs. Sometimes our values, if we're not living in is values that clash. Sometimes when you see people quarreling, sometimes for you, an outsider looking in, it looks so, inconsequential, but that thing is life and death for that individual fighting for it because it's a core value for them. So understanding this means you understand your client's model of the world. So you need for them to be able to elicit their values and live in congruence with those values. Let them design their life to live in congruence, and then their life will flow better. Then their beliefs, are their beliefs, limiting them? I've had some women who come to me and say, oh, I want to become a coach, but I don't want to speak in public. Or I want to do this, but I don't want to do this. So they have all of these limiting belief about money, about, themselves in the world, about their position, about their gender. And then the way people see themselves, you need to understand, how do they see themselves as that person that cannot do this? Do they see themselves as, oh, I cannot speak in public, I cannot do this? So flip their can'ts. Let them embody the identity they need to get to their next level. Then spirituality, their sense of purpose, help them reach their sense of purpose. I'm rounding up now in about 1 minute. Thank you very much, Dr. Tony. I can see you. So we said these are just some of the basic NLP tools which you can use to help yourself and your clients to achieve your desired results. There are more advanced tools that we use in therapy, in coaching, their timeline, anchoring, path integration. These ones, it goes straight to the unconscious mind. So this is the question I have for you, for your reflection. Define neuro-linguistic programming in your own words. How do you explain its key principles to someone unfamiliar with the concept? Now, list and briefly explain 3 presuppositions of NLP. Incorporating this presupposition into your, how do you want to incorporate this into your approach to contribute to the effectiveness of your coaching sessions? And I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your active participation. And as you continue your journey with CIMCN, explore the resources within the Institute and beyond. Keep an eye out for upcoming workshops and events and ensure you participate fully. This is just the beginning of an exciting voyage in your world. Coaching is not just a skill, but an art that transforms lives. As a coach, you will continue to learn. There is no boundaries to your learning, because once you learn, you are more empowered to help your clients. Thank you very much. I really appreciate.
I told you that my big sisters are going to do justice to today's session, and it's been super, super amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Aisha. And it's been an amazing morning this morning. I think for me, you sparked up the interest. You know, I've done a little bit of neuro-linguistic programming, but I think I want to take it on, because it's really an interesting session. You know, you left me wanting for more. You know, so when you said taster, you really gave us a taster this morning. So whilst we are appreciating Dr. Aisha, please, if you have questions, you may want to drop it on the chat box, because we have actually exceeded our time. We're supposed to finish at 10:30, but this is 10:32. But then let's just quickly drop our question. If you have any question for her, if you have any comments, if you have any aha moments, okay, and if there are changes you want to make, you know, because sincerely, NLP makes people absolutely, you know, because sincerely, I think for me, I got to a point in my career, I was tired of touch and go. You know what is touch and go? You just train people and you just leave them, and then leave them to go and sort themselves out, whether they apply, they don't apply, that's not your business, whether it worked or it didn't work. And that was what brought my love for coaching and mentoring over 7 years ago. And it's been super, super amazing journey. In fact, it's been a 360-degree journey for me, because I have not only learned, I've gotten better, I've improved, I have earned, I have, you know, the fulfillment, the feedback, the prestige, the love, the rigor, and the resilience. I won't forget that. Because of course it's quite challenging as well. Okay, so we have Coach Nicole as usual having a question to ask you. Coach Nicole, please, let's do this.
Oh, it's actually not a question. I just want to say thank you to Dr. Aisha and to also Coach Amina. But I just want to say you really brought something down for us to learn today. It's a big one. And my aha moment is that there are no unresourceful people, only unresourceful state of mind. It's a big one for me. That statement alone is going to go far in the coaching world for us. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you.
Absolutely. And in addition, she also mentioned something that struck me deeply, that see, despite everything that is happening around us, businesses are opening every single day, right? It's for us to, number one, guard our hearts. How do you guard your heart? Don't join in the conversation. I know it's the reality, but we know better. We understand better. So number one, guard your heart. Guard your heart in the sense that don't engage with yourself in the conversations that are pulling us down. Because I think since ever I've been born some 40 something years ago, they've always said Nigeria is hard. I'm not trying to justify the current regime and all of that. But somehow, I don't know, maybe as a people, we are very resilient, or maybe personally, I've been resilient. So you want to guard your heart and try to walk away from conversations that will leave you feeling worse, right? I think it's also a great time for you to be part of this community at such a time as this. It's been a surreal experience. And also, you are already positioning yourself.
Okay. I think if you can hear me, kindly indicate in the chat box. I think we lost Dr. Toyin for a moment
Yes,
while we wait for her.
yes, exchange rate is affecting everybody quite all right. But the truth is, sincerely, this is the best time you can leverage on being a coach and a mentor because people need help.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes, doctor, we can hear you.
Okay,
Doctor, we can hear you loud and
bring the meeting to a close.
Yes, doctor, we can hear you.
DG is here to bring the meeting to. DG, you want to bring the meeting to a close?
You bring the meeting to a close. Bring the meeting to a close.
Okay, so I would want to continue what Dr. Toyin was saying.
Okay.
We are the light bearers. This is the time people need us the most to
Absolutely.
motivate, to inspire, to guide, and to help them, to direct their lens. What are they choosing to focus on? And how are they choosing to maximize the resources around them? And I want to, thank you all for being here today and to let you know that you have all it takes. Coaching, mentoring is a journey. Dr. Mark said something. He said he embodies himself through the work he does, right? So you need to be able to, it's part of the process of actually giving back. To whom much is given, much is expected. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Dr. Toyin. Over to you.
All right, so bye for now. You can stop sharing, ma'am, so that maybe we can see all our faces in a grid. Stop sharing your slides so that we can
down.
Yep. Wow. So thank you, everyone. And